Good morning. Hello and welcome everyone. In today's world where digital ecosystems are expanding faster than ever, security can no longer be a afterthought. It must be engineered, built in, not bolted on. I am thrilled to invite you to a comprehensive 12-part video series on security architecture and engineering, a foundational and advanced exploration that bridges theory, practice, and governance. Whether you are a student beginning your journey, or a cybersecurity practitioner refining your craft, or a compliance professional aligning systems to regulatory mandate, this series has been thoughtfully created for you. In phase 1, we set the groundwork with core concepts. We unpack security models like Bell-LaPadula, Biba, Clark Wilson. We understand system architecture and its principles, including the trusted computing base and the reference monitors. We'll explore preventive, detective, and corrective controls, evaluate systems through common criteria, TCSEC and ITSEC, and dwell into cryptographic design and secure system components like hardware, firmware, and softwares. That's phase 1. In phase 2, we move into deep technical exploration. Here, we explore security design principles like defense in depth, least privilege, and fail secure. You learn about enterprise architecture frameworks such as SABSA, TOGAF, and ZACMAN. We'll also cover secure coding, SDLC security integration, engineering focused vulnerability management, and dwell into architecture for embedded systems, IoT, mobile, cloud native platforms, and containerization. You will gain insights into hardware based securities like TPMs, HSMs, secure boots, and trust zones, as well as emerging domains like zero trust architecture, confidential computing, and the impact of AI ML on architecture. In phase 3, we'll turn the spotlight to real world relevance through threat modeling methodologies like STRIDE, DREAD, and PASTA. We will analyze actual breaches, what went wrong, and what could have gone right. These case studies will contrast vulnerable versus resilient architectures, giving you blueprints for building secure enterprise patterns while avoiding anti-patterns that exposes organizations to risks. Finally, in phase 4, we will converge technology with governance. We will explore how to map architectural design to standards like ISO 27001 Annex A, NIST SP 800-160, and others. We learn how to perform architecture level risk assessments and how to design systems that are not only secure but compliant with global regulations like GDPR, India's DPDP Act, HIPAA, and PCI DSS. Each episode is crafted with clarity and depth, backed by real world examples, theoretical models, and regulatory insights. My goal is to demystify complex security concepts, empower you to design defensible systems, and help you think like a security architect. So, if you are passionate about building systems that are secure by design, resilient by architecture, and governed by compliance, this series is for you. Please subscribe, follow along, and join me in this transformative journey into security, architecture, and engineering. Let's build a safer digital world, one secure design at a time. This is your host, Savit Vittal Salian. Namaskar. Security Architecture and Engineering, Part 13. Architectural Risk Assessment. Architectural risk assessment. This involves reviewing the design of systems to find potential security issues before they are built or deployed. Questions asked during this process include: are sensitive data and processes protected? What happens if a system component fails? Are there controls in place to detect or stop attacks? The goal is to build secure systems from ground up instead of fixing problems later. Architectural risk assessment is the process of evaluating the design and structure of a system or application to identify inherent security risks before implementation. It focuses on trust boundaries, data flows, components and interdependencies, attack vectors, and potential threat actors. Unlike code reviews or pen testing, which occurs later, architectural risk assessment helps identify systemic design flaws early in the software development life cycle. Example: a SaaS company is designing a multi-tenant customer relationship management platform. Before development begins, a security architect performs an architectural risk assessment. The steps involved: first is reviewing the architectural diagram, wherein the CRM uses shared resources like database and load balancers. They identify trust boundaries, wherein the customer data enters API via APIs and UIs and is stored in a multi-tenant database. That's the identification. They analyze the risk of tenant data leakage due to improper access control. API exposed to the internet may be vulnerable to injection or denial of service, and lack of encryption at rest could expose data if storage is compromised. The mitigation proposed are using row level access control for tenant isolation, adding rate limiting and input validation on APIs, and implementing transparent data encryption for storage. And last, introducing threat modeling as part of every major feature review. The outcome: systemic risk were identified and mitigated early on before a single line of code was written. Real world scenario: a Fortune 500 company used a web security library across all its web apps. From an architecture oversight perspective, the ESA API implementation was outdated and applied inconsistently. Core services lacked proper output encoding in template engines. This introduced cross-site scripting risk in high trust zones. From a risk assessment, it revealed flawed assumption in reusing security libraries across heterogeneous framework. It lacked of centralized policy enforcement. Post assessment, a new security architecture pattern was established with clear guidelines. A central encoding service was introduced as a standard control. Teams were trained on safe usage and architectural patterns were codified. The result? The company reduced future architectural risk and improved its baseline for all new apps. Key focus area? Well, need to ask the question is where untrusted data enters or exists a system. Is the data encrypted in motion and at rest? Are privileges tightly scoped and roles well defined? What are the assumptions between modules? Are there known vulnerabilities in the architecture choices? Application of threat intelligence. Threat intelligence refers to the collection, analysis, and use of information about potential or current threat to improve an organization's security posture. It can be strategic, tactical, operational, or technical and is used to inform decisions, strengthen defenses, and respond to incidents more effectively. Application. Well, threat intelligence is information about real world attack, tools, and technique used by hackers. Using this data, security team can improve their defenses by understanding current threats that are relevant to their environment, adjusting threats models to reflect how attackers can actually behave, enhancing incident response and decision making. Framework like Mitre Attack, CAP-EC provides detailed knowledge of attack techniques and common exploit patterns. Threat modeling and attack surface management are essential part of a secure architecture. They ensure that systems are designed with a clear understanding of how they might be attacked and how to prevent or contain those attacks. Example, an enterprise is facing targeted phishing attacks that bypasses traditional spam filter. The steps taken include the security team subscribes to commercial and open source threat intelligence feed. They integrate this feed into the email gateways and SIEM systems. The email security platform blocks email containing known malicious links or attachments, quarantines suspicious messages for review, enriches logs with threat indicators for incidents. Weekly threat intel report also informs security awareness training and phishing simulation for employees. Outcome? They reduce successful phishing attempts, faster identification of attack campaigns, and better informed SOC analysts using contextual data. Real world scenario where large banks are member of the FSIAC, which is Financial Service Information Sharing and Analysis Center. A bank, in this case, receives an alert from the FSISAC about a new malware variant targeting Swift wire transfer. The bank immediately searches its environment for related indicators of compromise or IOCs. They update endpoint protection and SIEM detection rules. They block the C2 domain listed in the alert at the firewall and DNS levels. Outcome? The bank prevented a similar attack that had impacted its peers. Shared anonymized incident response finding back with the FSISAC to help other banks. Common application of threat intelligence? Well, it blocks unknown malicious IP, hashes, URLs. It adds threat context to logs and alerts. It searches proactively for techniques, and procedures. It aligns its controls based on emerging threat actor behavior, and it patches based on active exploitation intel. Governance, compliance, and audit integration. It has four components mainly: mapping of ISO 27001, system security engineering is taken from the NIST SP 800-160, control validation and audit readiness, regulatory architecture requirement which covers PCI DSS, HIPAA, DPDP, GDPR. Let's look at ISO 27001 mapping. Well, ISO 27001 is a global standard for managing information security. Security architecture should align with its controls, especially in Annex A, which lists best practices. For example, access control, encryption, and secure system development practice all map directly to ISO 27001's requirement. Following this standard helps organization build trust and demonstrate a strong security posture. From a NIST SP 800-160 perspective, this guideline from NIST provides a structured approach to building a secure system. It combines engineering practices with security principles. The focus is on building security into the design and development process rather than adding it later. It is useful for government systems, critical infrastructure, and regulated industries. Control, validation, and audit readiness. Well, once security controls are in place, they need to be tested and verified. Control validation ensures that policies and configurations are working as expected. Audit readiness means being prepared to show evidence of compliance during audit. Good documentation, logging, and regular internal assessment helps in passing audits smoothly. Requirements. Well, different industries and regions have specific rules for protecting their data. PCI DSS is focused for payments and card data, HIPAA is for healthcare data, DPDP of India or GDPR of EU is for personal data protection and privacy. Security architecture must be designed to meet these requirements from the start. This includes implementing encryption, access control, data minimization, and breach reporting process. Governance, compliance, and audits are not just checkboxes. They guide how security is built, measured, and improved. Integrating them into architecture ensures that systems stay secure, legal, and are trusted. Let us look at some of the case studies. Secure architecture successes. Let's see how a good design can prevent major security incident. First is from Netflix. It uses a strong cloud security architecture with microservices, identity management, and chaos engineering to proactively test resilience. Google Beyond Corp. Well, an implementation of zero trust architecture that replaced VPNs and allowed secure access for untrusted networks. The Estonia's national ID system is secure, scalable e-identity platform with strong encryption and blockchain-based integrity, enabling trusted public services. These are all success stories of secure architecture and helped in preventing major incidents. Let's look at examples of mistakes that led to security failure when designing was a gap. The first is Equifax breach. A missed software patch led to massive data breach. Key lessons: patch management is critical. Target breach of 2013. Attacker accessed the network via an HVAC vendor. Lesson learned: third party access must be tightly controlled. Capital One cloud misconfiguration. Well, a firewall misconfiguration exposed customer data. Lesson learned: always validate cloud security settings. Let's look at industry specific architecture. Banking. Well, banking uses layered security, defense in depth concept, tokenization for payments, payment security, and strict compliance with standards like PCI DSS. In telecom, it requires strong perimeter defense and internal segmentation to protect infrastructure from denial of service or distributed denial of service and signaling attacks. In healthcare, they must protect patient data using encryption, access control, and compliance with regulations like HIPAA. In manufacturing and OT, they use secure gateway and segmentation between IT and OT networks to prevent threats from impacting production lines. These real world cases help reinforce why security architecture must be designed carefully, maintained diligently, and constantly be improved on. I hope these case studies helped you in some way. If you think this has helped, the series has helped you, do like and subscribe so that the next videos, when uploaded, you get a notification. Do share it with anyone you think can benefit from this, a student or any management who wants to know this part of the concept. Sharing this might help them in some way. With this, I come to the end of the series. This is end of part 13 and end of the series as such. Overall, I like to thank you for the support. Thank you for the patience for coming up to this part, which means you have invested a lot of time and energy. I hope this has been useful in your thought process, triggering your thoughts, useful in your help you in your understanding. If it is so, do comment back, do like and subscribe, and yes, do share. This is your host, Savit Vittal Salian, thanking you again. See you in the next video. Namaskar.